Hello and welcome to everyone who's joined us today. I hope you're having a good day. Today we're going to talk about scripting with UltraEdit. Joining me today is Johnny Pickle, our Chief Architect, and I'm Bradley Hawkins. I'm the Product Manager for UltraEdit. As you can see on the screen, we have an image of Ben Schwenk. He is usually with us. Today he is not available, but he will be presenting a pre-recorded video later, and it's a great video showcasing scripting and some capabilities. So he will, I'm sure he'll be in future webinars, but we really wanted him to contribute to this, and so he contributed that pre-recorded video. So now we're going to jump straight into, that was our introduction. We're going to jump straight into a scripting overview. And Johnny, feel free to jump in here if you have any comments, by the way. In fact, I'll specifically reference you. But UltraEdit offers a scripting capability that allows you to automate tasks within UltraEdit. And the scripting language that UltraEdit has chosen is JavaScript, and it's a choice we made quite a number of years ago. And the choice made there was because JavaScript has a very large user base and has for many years. It has very broad use across many applications and browsers, of course, and it has an enormous library of language resources that you can draw on for functionality. And the way we've implemented it in UltraEdit, we've made some recent changes in our latest version of UltraEdit. We've added in JavaScript support through Microsoft's Edge WebView 2 control. And that brings a whole host of modern JavaScript features and capabilities. At the same time, though, we've maintained what I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say guaranteed compatibility with legacy scripts. And the way we do that is if you're using an existing JavaScript with UltraEdit, it will use our previous JavaScript core. And if you want to use a new features, you have to make a small change to your script in order to enable those new features. And that's just so all existing users will not see any issues with their current JavaScript capabilities. Johnny, do you have any comments on JavaScript and why we chose it to for UltraEdit and some of the aspects of that?
We used the originally we used the SpiderMonkey engine from Mozilla, and we upgraded it several times, but there was a point where the actual engine was really huge, and it was bringing in more and more of the Mozilla code base. So we ended up having to stop updating it because it was too complicated.
And that's where we landed and decided to move to WebView 2 from Microsoft.
Yeah, and then WebView 2 uses the V8 engine.
So yeah, I know. Yeah, it is based out of the I guess technically it's not really Chrome. It's out of the open source Chromium library that Microsoft is using. But it's almost identical, missing a few small things that are Chrome specific. But we think it's going to be a great win for all of our users. It brings, like I said, an enormous number of capabilities that we did not have. So I'm really looking forward to what users can do with it. So let's move on. What we're going to do here is we're going to go through kind of an entry-level scripting tutorial just to kind of give you an idea. If you're not familiar with our scripting, this will just show you just the bare minimum basics. And then we'll expand on that, and then we'll expand on it a little more. And once we've gone through that, we're going to do the traditional hello world, except I'm calling it a hello UltraEdit. We'll show how to use our script list, some basic configuration like adding a key mapping for a script. And then as I said, we'll expand on that basic hello UltraEdit script with 2 additions to that. And after I've completed that, we're going to jump into that video from Ben, who's, as I said, not available, but it's a great video. You may have seen it already. We did tease it with some content for this webinar, but it's a really good video showcasing capabilities that are relevant, right now for scripting and UltraEdit. So let me jump over to UltraEdit. Hope everybody can see my screen there. And we are going to Hold on just a moment. All right. And I'm just going to start here with a basic empty file. And this first line here, this is the new requirement to enable our WebView 2 functionality. Any script that's going to have WebView 2 capabilities just has to include this at the top of the script, and that's all that's required to get that going. And then we're going to do a real simple script. And then once you have a script in UltraEdit, you can just immediately play it if you're ready to do so. Under Advanced, you can click Play Script, and you'll see that it immediately output the value into it outputs to the active file, because that's what I said to specify was the active document. Now, normally that's not what you're going to want to do, but in this simple example, it doesn't really hurt anything, and I can just undo that. Normally, you would have the script set up in our script list, which I'm going to show in just a second, and you would run the script and have the output go into the output window or into another active file. So let's go ahead and save this. And then let's bring up our script list. And here you can just add a script, specify the script you want, and then let's create a new file. So we're not going to make changes to our actual script, and you can just double click the script and run it. You can also go to here and select the script and run it like that. And that's just the bare minimum basics of running a script in UltraEdit. It's not difficult. You just have to go through a few steps to get there.
I'm sorry to interrupt. One of our attendees is asking if you can increase the font size.
Sure, I'm pretty sure I can do that without too much trouble. Oh, wait. I almost never change my font size. Does that look a little better, Johnny, from your side?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we've got our script and we've got our output. Let's jump over to the Advanced ribbon tab, and we're going to bring up the All Scripts dialog, which is where you can do configuration. And like, for instance, you got a hotkey. You can add, remove, or select scripts that are saved to the script list. And I'm just going to add a real easy hotkey there, just Control-Shift-H and hit OK. And now if I want to run the script, apparently it doesn't work when I do that. It's always when you're doing a demo that something goes wrong, right? Oh, of course I added it to the wrong one. That would do that. There we go. My mistake there. So there we go, our whole UltraEdit. I'm not crazy, it does actually work. So that's the basics of writing an initial script, adding it to our script list, and then going to configuration for scripts and adding key mapping so you can run your scripts just with a keystroke. So after that, we're going to jump over to some additional items on how to expand on what you can do with just a simple script. And I am going to cheat a little here, guys, and I am going to open an existing script that we have, so you don't have to listen to me type the whole time. And what this script here, it just creates a header for a file you may have. Again, it's not terribly complicated. Let's say you have a file and you want to have some basic information at the top of each file. And you want to have this for all your files that you're working on, source files or data files. So this is a simple script that will allow you to easily just insert that information. Kind of like, think of it like a template, except we're using a script to do this. And the reason we're using a script is because we're going to give it a little bit of intelligence in the next example. So this is just to get us started. So I'm going to add this script. I'm going to add this script, the header script. I'm going to add 2 scripts here, so they're both ready for me here. Okay. So what this script does is it takes the active document, gets its path, gets the file name, then it comes down here and it gets the date, formats that date, gets the year, and then it's going to write this out to the active document in a series of comments, giving it just a kind of a standard header that you might include in a source file. So now that I've got this script here and I've got it set up in the script list, let's say I've started a new CPP file, a new C++ file, and I want to just start out with a header, then I can just run that script and it's going to give me the header I want in that script. So again, straightforward, not terribly complicated, and something you probably would do with a template instead of a script, but that's just to start with. So we're going to look at the next script, which we're going to add, like I said, I'm going to add a little bit of intelligence to this. It's going to be the header plus here, we're going to call that. Again, it's basically the same script. What it does is this one looks at the extension. It gets the path name, gets the file name, gets the extension, and then it looks at the extension. Is it a C++ file? Is it maybe a batch file? And in this case, it's going to change how it comments the file and the header based on that context. So I'm going to add this right there. I've already got it in the script list. So like for the batch file, I can now run that script and it'll put the appropriate comments in the batch file. And if I clear out the C++ file and run again the header plus script, it knows this is a C++ file and it puts in the appropriate comments for a C++ file. Now these are simple examples, but they just give you an idea of what you can do with the scripting to just kind of make your life a little bit easier, give you a few little extra tools on your own that you can write and maintain and do more work with. So I think with that, let me switch back. Yeah, we covered the insert document header and we covered handling with source context. So that brings us to our advanced scripting tutorial. So this is the video that I mentioned, so I'm going to get that started. And let me, there we go. We got the video ready to go. This is from Ben Schwink. He does a great job with everything in UltraEdit. He does great videos and examples. So let's see what he's got to say.
So let's say that we have a need to convert CSV data to JSON format. Now, the purpose of this demo isn't to illustrate how you should go about solving this specific task, because honestly, there are probably much faster and easier ways to get this done, like online using a tool. But the purpose of this demo is to show you how you can use UltraEdit scripting to automate certain reformatting tasks that might be tedious or repetitive, to save you a ton of time and effort. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is create the actual script file. So let's create a new file and we will save it as CSV to JSON.js, just plain vanilla JavaScript. Now the first thing I'm going to do is add the header line that will instruct the UltraEdit scripting engine to use WebView 2's JavaScript engine, which is the fully modernized version that includes all the latest functionality for JavaScript. So, and this comment line will make sure that that happens. Now, let's assume as well that at the time that I run my script, I'm going to have all of my CSV data selected. Now, you may want to write your script with other considerations, like if only part of the data is selected, or if the script should run on the whole file. But to keep things straightforward for the demo, we're going to assume that all of the CSV data is selected. So then we can come back to our script here, and we can assign a JavaScript variable to our selection via active document selection. So now this variable CSV data holds everything that's selected at the time of execution. So now we need to operate on that data within JavaScript. We want to convert it from CSV format to JSON. So we could spend some number of minutes, developing, writing a function that does that. But given the proliferation of AI and LLM tools that are available online, why don't we head over there and see maybe what ChatGPT can offer us in terms of a function. So let's add ChatGPT here, instruct it to write a JavaScript function that converts CSV data with headers to JSON format. All right, and honestly, we could probably find this function, on Stack Overflow or a blog somewhere, but this is just to demonstrate what's possible with ChatGPT. So let's go back to our JavaScript file here, and we'll paste in the function. Now we need to call that function on our CSV data variable. So that will convert it, but we won't be able to see what is actually happening to the data. To do that, we'll want to either write it to the output window or to the file. Let's write it to the output window at first so that we can preview what is actually happening to our data. Let's assign a new variable, converted data, to the function call. That way the function is only called once. And then let's write the converted data to the output window. And that was control space for autocomplete, in case you were wondering. Now, one other thing, our output window isn't visible. So rather than having to manually hunt through the menus and where to turn it on, let's call an output window method called showWindow, the parameter of true, to make sure that it's enabled at the time the script is run. Okay, so we can go back to our CSV data here, and one thing that we forgot is that we need to add our script to the scripts list. So we'll browse to where we saved it, double click it, and now it's added. Now we can try running it. And interesting, we can see that it has written a bunch of JSON data to the output window. So now that that looks good, it looks like it's valid JSON and data is in the format we expect, we'll go back to our script and we'll tell it to write converted data to the file. And this is actually going to start writing over the selection. So whatever selected at the time of script execution is going to be overwritten with the converted data. So now let's see if we get what we expect. Yep, sure enough, looks like we have our data in valid JSON format here. Now this isn't easily readable because it's all on one line. It's word wrapped, but this is all a single line of JSON data. So let's see if we go into the command palette, Control-Shift-P, and then we'll search for JSON. And right here, reformat JSON. Let's try this. That is beautiful. Our JSON is reformatted into human readable format, and we've got JSON syntax highlighting. We can see that our CSV header has been used for the keys, and that is how scripting can save you a ton of time in UltraEdit.
Seems like there was an audio issue there. I apologize for that. So anyway, thank you, Ben, for, he's not here, but he made a great video, so thank you for that. We're now going to jump into the next demonstration for scripts. This is going to expand on the scripts we already have. Last time when I was talking, we had a header plus script. And now we're going to add to this so that instead of just adding to existing files, we're going to change the script so that it will create a new file with a little bit of input and then put in some basic information from that input. So let me open up a script here. And what this script is going to do, it's very similar to the ones we've already seen, except this time it's going to use this UltraEdit active document selection. And it's going to grab whatever you've highlighted and take that and turn it into the name of a new file and some basic information to kind of fill out that new file. So as an example, let me go here. I've got a header file and I've got a class, a C++ header file that's referenced a class that we're going to assume it doesn't exist. That's why I'm doing this. So I'm going to highlight this class and then I'm going to go over here and activate the script, and it's going to generate a new file in the same location as the header file we were in. It's going to add a header to it and put a very bare minimum class instance in it. So here's where we've gone beyond just a basic template and added just a little bit of extra intelligence so that it's able to look at some context in a file, create a new file, and then put some basic starting content in that file. And let me switch back to the presentation and move on to our next example. Okay, this one, this is a new feature that is become available with our WebView 2 scripting capabilities, and that is because we're using WebView 2, you can interact with internet content. UltraEdit previously could not do that. So now let's come back to UltraEdit. And this is, I'm going to be honest, kind of like a made up example, but I think it gets the point across. I have here something that it says newsletter.html. It's basically just a document. It's discussing investing news, and it has a symbol for a stock right here, AAPL. And I've got a script that what this script is going to do. And let me open that script. And let's see, do I have it open? Let me open this script. And what this script does is it will retrieve information based on that symbol on the internet. It'll go out to a service. It's contacting a service using an XML HTTP request, retrieving information from that service, and it's going to take that information, it's going to parse it, and then insert it into this newsletter HTML document. So let's try that. Let's hope this works. Pulling a lot of data, parsing it, and inserting it into the HTML. So let's do a live preview of this and see what we have now. Okay, so what it inserted was the title here for Apple. It retrieved a description from an online service and put that description into the HTML, and then it obtained a series of newsfeed articles, links, and embedded those into the newsletter article. So, excuse me. You can see that while this may not be something anyone's going to, a lot of us may need on a regular basis if you're not, doing some type of investing work or whatnot, the ability to retrieve content from the internet using UltraEdit scripting, take that content, parse it, process it, and then embed it into the files you're working on can be very powerful. All right. Now we're going to switch over to the next example. Johnny's going to demonstrate a script of splitting a large file. So let me transfer. Johnny, are you ready to showcase? You have UltraEdit ready and your screen clear?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to switch to you.
Do you see it?
I can see your screen is up, so take it away.
All right. I've got a script here that was actually made by Mofi, who is our forum moderator, and he is a power user that has been helping us for, I don't know, a long time, uh, over 15 years. This you can find this script in the forums. He provided it for everyone to use. It takes a large file and then it splits it into this particular instance of the script splits it into 500,000 line chunks, and you can set different variables here. So the way it does this is it opens the original file. Well, the file actually has to be open, and it has to be in the leftmost position, the leftmost tab, and that information is in here. This is a well documented script as well. It opens the file, and it creates new files based on the file's name, and then it copies chunks into the clipboard, and then it spits it out, and then it does that over and over until it's done. So as you can see, that's the location of the script, and then this is the file that I want to break apart. If I go to the end, pretty large file, 1.4 million lines, and then I just run it. And then there you go. Breaks it up into 3 files. $500,000 line chunks. And then, you can customize this. This would be good for log files, things of that nature. And then moving on to the next script, also from the forums. It's called OpenClose.js. You can search on our forums, forums.ultraedit.com, surround wrap selected text with quotes. And this is provided by a forum contributor, HuGov. And what this script does is it wraps, the original script is set up so that you add open character or close character, and you can wrap selected text with those characters. And then it has several things that it can do, like if there's no selection, then it just adds the open and close square bracket. Or if it's at the end of the line, it only adds the ending bracket, and then there's some column mode things. Also another well-documented script. I actually have this set up so that let's see. So my I made an addition so that I can just put in any open or close parameter that I want. So I could actually do parentheses and then put it in here that's like this. So, and that is done with those two examples.
All right, thank you, Johnny, for showcasing both of those. I'm really interested in the surround capability. In fact, we're going to talk about that. Johnny and I will talk about that in just a moment. I'm going to, if I can, switch. Okay. So we looked at the split large file script and the code surround script. So let's look at what UltraEdit's, what's coming up next for UltraEdit. First thing is something we talked about in a previous webinar. It's getting a lot closer. In fact, it's going to be in the next release of UltraEdit, which should be in the July or August timeframe. That's going to be UltraEdit 2023.1, and we're going to have an enhanced large file mode and settings. Basically, that means that if you are used to working with UltraEdit's large files, like gigabytes or multiple gigabytes, that are really difficult to work with for most editors, we've taken all the settings that apply to large files and added what I'm calling a large file mode, so that you can control all those settings and those triggers, what enables large file mode, what works within large file mode, and in a new section of settings within our configuration. So that way you can easily tweak aspects of large file mode handling. So anyone who uses large file mode will probably, we're hoping they will definitely appreciate this. Now, like I said, we'll be in 2023-1. We're also something that was teased in a previous webinar is going to be in the next 2023.1 release, is we've redone the interface for the macro configuration to streamline it, make it a little easier to learn and use to create macros, because although we have a robust scripting environment, plenty of users still use macros. Macros, you know, provide a nice complement for those who are familiar with them. So it's good to see an update to this UI to make it easier for those users. In the release later this year, 2023.2, that'll be in the fall, we're going to be doing a scripting update. The scripting update will mostly consist of exposing additional functionality that the application offers within our scripting interface. In fact, I'm going to pause for just a second here and let's see if I can get back to UltraEdit. And users may be familiar with this with our help file or not, but there's a lot of great data in our help file, which apparently I'm losing it. Make this a little bigger. And we have, in here we have the list. These are all the commands that are available within scripts that apply just to UltraEdit functionality. We have our main UltraEdit object, which allows you to do, to change settings, to initiate commands like doing find in files, to opening files, to creating new files, doing regular expression work, saving files. Then we have our document object, which lets you do all kinds of commands that specifically affect an individual document, whether that's column mode operations or down to character and line, deletions, additions, again, more find and replace, bookmarks. All of this is for the this is all available from within our JavaScript environment for documents. And then conditionals to help control your decisions in JavaScript. A lot of functionality is already here, but not every piece of functionality within UltraEdit is exposed to JavaScript. So there's a lot here, but we're going to expand on it. And we're going to make that something we do moving forward. When we do new releases, we're going to look at, hey, are there features here we need to add to JavaScript? If there are, we're going to start expanding that, because this feature set has been somewhat static over the years, and we're going to start adding to that. And here with the final section is output window. You can have, there's certain things you can do with our output window in JavaScript as well. So let me switch back to the presentation. So that would be the scripting update. Also, we're going to look at the potential of adding, because right now in UltraEdit, when you install UltraEdit, you get a few sample scripts that are very simple, and they give you an idea of what you know to get started, but they don't really provide any additional functionality. We're going to look at taking scripts and packaging more scripts in the installer so that when you install UltraEdit, they'll already be scripts that can do something productive. And I think that'll help encourage people to look more at scripting, because we'll be offering you not just simple examples, but some more complex examples that will help you in your daily work. We're also going to be, plugins have been teased previously. They are going to make their debut in 2023.2. In fact, I mentioned Johnny was showcasing the surround script. Well, we're going to, the goal of one of the first plugins that's going to ship with UltraEdit will be a surround plugin. So that, and it will be more powerful than what he showcased. It will have more awareness. It'll have more intelligence. It'll be able to, you won't have to necessarily enter the surround key you want. It will use context. It'll use you can, by keystroke and by context, you'll be able to enter and surround code and text intelligently. So I think that'll be nice. We're also going to have language enhancement plugins for languages, for languages and data like SQL, HTML, and CSS. That would expand the existing language features we have for those with new functionality. And then moving beyond this year into 2024, in our first release in 2024, we're going to add an integrated cloud storage browser. This feature will allow you that if you're like, a lot of users, to be honest, a lot of users may not benefit from this, and then I can understand that. But if you use a lot of different cloud storage services, like for instance, for various reasons, I have Google Cloud, Google Drive, I have Dropbox, I have OneDrive, and then, like I said, for Google, I have both the storage environment and the drive environment, two separate cloud environments. So what we're going to be doing is providing basically something similar to our FTP browser, but for cloud protocols, so that if you have 3 or 4 different cloud storage accounts in different protocols or providers, you'll be able to access that data all from within UltraEdit, upload files, download files, manage files. And if you have a lot of those cloud storage providers, this will be nice to have in one location, because for me, I actually don't want every single cloud storage provider I have mounted on my personal computer, because then it just kind of proliferates how many drives, virtual drives, cloud drives that I've got going. And so this feature, I think, will appeal to users who have a lot of cloud storage services that they have to use. And then going beyond the first release of 2024, these are features we're kind of teasing right now. That's why they're 2024 plus. We have database integration. We've had a large number of users ask that if UltraEdit could directly interact with databases to pull large records, to edit large records, because UltraEdit works with large files and large data sets. So instead of having to indirectly work with data, we'd like, users have asked if UltraEdit could actually talk to databases and retrieve records. And that's something we're looking at, and we think that is going to be in next year. It is tentative, but we've had enough people ask for it that we're definitely excited about that. And finally, since we're adding plugins, we're going to roll out a plugin SDK so that users, such as yourselves, will be able to write your own plugins and add functionality to UltraEdit. And then, of course, what would be a presentation right now if it didn't mention AI? Ben teased a little bit of AI in his video, and we are looking, every company out there is looking at AI integration, and we are looking as well. And it is on our roadmap to roll out AI features next year. But we want to do it in a way that doesn't tie you into one specific service or provider, because there are so many and they're proliferating quickly. So we want to look at something that will empower you to pick the AI services you want. So that's, like I said, it's in the concept stage. We'll see where we land next year on that. So Johnny, anything on those features that are coming next for UltraEdit? You want, excuse me.
About the plugins, I know that there have been people who wanted to run scripts under certain conditions, like starting up the application or opening a file or closing a file. So that will allow users to add a script, a plugin to those events. And then we're hoping to get it so that, you know, they chain together. So you can actually have multiple plugins working at the same time on opening and closing, or you know, shutting down the application or closing the application or starting up the application. And there'll be some interesting things that in the future. I don't know about the first iteration of plugins that come out, but in the future we would like to have, you know, I don't know if you mentioned this, but utilize the WebView 2 to have a GUI or a plugin module, so that you know, users can use the power of the internet as well for their plugins.
Right. Yeah, I actually did not mention that, but yeah, that is absolutely. I guess we should have mentioned that plugins, kind of tying into this scripting webinar, is that our plugins are going to be, they are going to use WebView 2. Their native language for plugins will be JavaScript. So that means that if you are able to write scripts, it will be a small step from writing a script to writing a plugin. And as Johnny said, the goal will be that that we are going to include at some point in the plugin release schedule a UI element, so that when you create a plugin, you'll be able to craft a UI to go along with the plugin that will be displayed within UltraEdit, that will use the WebView 2. So you'll be able to create a UI that's based on web technologies. So you're not going to have to learn C++, you're not going to have to learn Win32 interface or .NET interface coding. You'll be able to create the interface using just HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So I think that will make plugins and, you know, accessible to a much broader audience. So I think that covers everything we had for future updates. So that moves into questions. What questions do we have from our users? Have you guys got a list of questions for us right now?
Well, the first one that everyone has been asking is for a recording, and there will be a recording, and we will send out a link.
Yes, that's right. There will be a recording of this webinar, and some items like the video that Ben did, I believe it's already available as a separate video. I'm not sure when it will be broadly available, but I believe it will be available as a separate video. And if not, it'll be part of this webinar anyway, so that it will be available in some form regardless.
And then we have a user asking, is there any plan to include TypeScript as an option to get the benefits of stronger typing?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if you've written into us about that, but we have had users write in and ask, were we going to support TypeScript? And the answer is, I want to say that we would like the answer to be yes. I can't say definitively it's yes, but we for those who may or may not know, TypeScript is kind of at a higher language abstraction level, and when it's processed, it's basically processed down to JavaScript for evaluation. So we should be able to add support for TypeScript for scripting and for plugins if there is sufficient user demand to make that happen, because it won't require an enormous amount of additional work, because again, it will be processed down to JavaScript before it's evaluated. So that's a qualified yes, I guess.
Also, there's been some questions about UE Studio. Scripting works in UE Studio just as it works in UltraEdit. However, it does not work. We do not have scripting integration with any of our other products.
Yeah, one of the things where scripting will land for UltraCompare, UltraFinder, and UltraFTP, that is under discussion. I will say that we are going to be putting the WebView 2 component into all of the applications, and that's a first step. We're going to be adding it to all the applications for use anywhere the application may currently be displaying HTML content or any web content. It'll be upgraded to use the WebView 2 component, and that's a first step. We have to get that in before we can look at scripting. But once that's in, we will be evaluating all the applications to determine, is there a real need for scripting here? So if you would like scripting in UltraCompare or UltraFTP or UltraFinder, please send us an email and we will add you to our tickets for a request, and your voice, your count as we're increasing that counter, it will definitely be something we're looking at and viewing. So, but if you're interested in it, please send us an email.
Somebody had asked about online, if the API is online, and it is. It is on our website under
The JavaScript API, is that what we're talking about?
yes, it we have a scripting reference online under the UltraEdit wiki. If you search there, I was going to post a link, but I can't find where the question. There it is. Eric Rodriguez. There are other questions. Any thoughts or plans to use alternative to JavaScript like Python?
Well, I can say that that really isn't on our roadmap. However, if any of you have been a long-term UltraEdit customer, and I hope many or all of you are, you do know that we do listen. And if you ask for Python to be supported, and enough users also ask for Python to be an application scripting language, we will certainly consider it. But we do need that feedback to let us know that there's an audience looking for it. So again, I say, if it's something you're looking for, please write in and let us know. We don't take your emails and dump them in a bin somewhere. We take your emails and we add them to our ticketing system, and we record the request that you send us. So if you want something, please contact us.
I have not used scripting in UE before, as usually do that in other IDEs due to ability to view intelligent code completion as you write code. Does UltraEdit have intelligent code completion for seeing what's built into UltraEdit's objects?
That is actually something I can honestly say that it is that is very limited. In fact, I'd have to check, Johnny, but I'm pretty sure that we have much better support for JavaScript itself than we do for our own JavaScript object in terms of our Word file and language support. And so as we are, then I hadn't mentioned it in this webinar, but as we are looking to do additional work and updates for JavaScript, and as we are moving forward with the plugins and plugin SDK, making UltraEdit the first choice to actually create its own content, to create scripts, to create plugins. That is on our roadmap to radically improve UltraEdit's capabilities for developing its own content. So sadly, I have to say that no, it does not really support that in terms of UltraEdit's object, but it is something we're aware of, and we are actively pursuing improving it over the next several releases.
Will the scripting work in Windows, Linux, and Mac?
Well, the existing, well, we do have scripting support in Linux and Mac for UltraEdit. It has not been updated to a newer JavaScript environment. The issue there is really getting an updated component that will work across all platforms, and we are looking at that, and it is something we want to address. But currently, while the scripting is available, it is the previous scripting capabilities, not the newer WebView 2 scripting capabilities.
There's a question here, and maybe it's been answered already. Is there any performance impact on running JS against extremely large files? Will it lock the file or the UE application when such a script is running, like your example to convert CSV JSON? Will that lock up the application?
The scripting, when you do run scripting, it does, well, it doesn't like lock the application, but in the sense of like it's gonna, like stop painting, but it does prevent you from interacting with UltraEdit while the script is running. So if you were to process an extremely large file, it would impair your ability to work with other files while that was happening. That is a known limitation, and it is on the list to look at replacing that, to upgrading how that works, so that at some point you would be able to start a JavaScript on files, and files that are not affected by it would still be, active and be able to be edited. But that is, that's it. It's I'm sure Johnny could tell you that's a relatively tricky operation internally,
Yeah.
because of I'm not saying that it can't be done, because of course it can be done, and others have done it, but it's something that we're gonna have to work very carefully on, so that there's no issues with, data safety. Data preservation is paramount, so we have to make sure we get that right. But it is a known limitation, and one that we are going to work on.
And then I have another question here. Keith Weatherhead, when is UES 2023 coming? Is there a time frame?
Is that, well, UE?
UES 2023, UE Studio.
Well, it's UE Studio 23 is, maybe there's a confusion on the question, because UE Studio 2023 is out. Right, Johnny?
Yes, it is out.
I'm pretty sure I'm not confused on that. If you're asking about, maybe it could be that check for updates. There is a delay in check for updates when we do a release, while we work on any feedback. What was that?
That is what he's asking. He says he shows no update available.
Right. There is a delay on check for updates while we work on any feedback from users. And actually, the UltraEdit, the UE Studio check for updates will be turned on either tomorrow or Tuesday. So I guess that answers your question. now that I understand it, I guess that answers your question. So it's probably either tomorrow or Tuesday, check for updates will be enabled for UltraEdit and UV Studio for the latest version, and you'll get those notifications.
Is your scripting capabilities tied to the version of UE that is installed, or is it in a separate library that can be updated separate from UE? I'm running an older version of UE, and I'm just wondering if my UE will stay as is or will benefit from Java script updates in the future.
Yeah, generally the JavaScript capabilities is tied to the version of UltraEdit. In terms of especially anything that involves the UltraEdit object, you saw in scripting we have an UltraEdit object, and that's how everything's accessed to. Anything that uses the UltraEdit object capabilities is absolutely tied to the version of UltraEdit that you're using. With the new, starting with UltraEdit 2023.0, with our new scripting environment based on WebView 2, non-UltraEdit capabilities are based on the version of the WebView 2 component from Microsoft Edge, which is a separate install and is maintained by Microsoft. So if those capabilities can, of course, change and evolve as Microsoft updates that component. So I guess that's yes and no. Sorry.
We try to maintain backwards compatibility also with our internal objects. So things from previous versions should continue working. We don't want to break people's scripts that are in production.
And that's exactly why we chose to make the choice that any new scripting capabilities, you have to add the header to the script. We could, and that was entirely to make sure that all of your existing scripts, if you're using scripting, if anyone out there is using scripting, they will continue to run, because without that header, it will use the previous scripting engine. And that was done precisely because we did not want to break anyone's workflow.
I believe we've been through all the questions now.
Well, that's good timing because we are running up against our hour mark, like within a minute. Yep, within a minute, we're running up against our hour mark. So if we don't have any further questions, and I'd like to thank everyone for attending the webinar. I hope that it was informative and useful. If it wasn't, please sure and let us know what you'd like to see, and we will strive to do better next time. We provide these webinars so that they can be as informative and helpful as possible. So let us know what we're doing right, let us know what we're doing wrong, and we'll do better next time. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you, everyone.